Hello, I'm the son of a World War II veteran who epitomizes his generation and was the major influence in my life. He's the major reason I joined the Air Force Reserves and aspired to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. But the story is not about me. It's about a person who dedicated himself to the betterment of his community and family. His name to the world was Joseph Grams, and we're talking about a Lieutenant Joseph Grams at his highest rank. To his family, he was Kashmir Joseph Grams. The Veterans History Project letter is allowing me to give you these facts. Kashmir Joseph Grams, or First Lieutenant Joseph Grams, was born 1917 on May 5th in the Delaware Hospital, Newcastle County, Wilmington, Delaware. At the time, his parents, Kazmirs, or I guess it's pronounced Kazmiraz, and Henrietta Grams, lived in Penns Grove, New Jersey. His father was a pressman at a power works, according to Joseph's birth certificate. Although when I knew Kazmiraz, my grandfather, he owned and operated a grocery store in Magnolia Heights, New Jersey. Kazmiraz was of Russian descent, and his mother and Joseph's mother was of Polish descent, Polish-Russian. I really don't remember my grandfather much, but I do remember him giving me hard rock candy on a string in his grocery store. He let me ride on the running board of his old car, which had a rumble seat. I have a picture of him and of these events. He died in bed, probably from a stroke. Joseph Grams had only an 8th grade education, but was the most wise, helpful, patriotic, and influential person in my life, as well as the lives of many, many others. He was dedicated to his community, country, and accomplished much more than most college graduates. One of Joseph's first jobs, due to the massive unemployment in 1935, was with the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC. He built roads in California mountains and Lake Tahoe, and Nevada, or Lake Tahoe, Nevada. He built roads, stone buildings, and bridges in Vantage, Washington, and worked on the Cooley Dam. He was especially proud of his work in the Ginkgo Petrified Forest State Park in Washington, where he was the assistant leader in charge of building rock buildings around petrified ginkgo trees to protect them from vandals. He took a piece of petrified ginkgo as a souvenir. The Chinese worshipped the ginkgo tree in the olden days. In 1969, he gave the missing piece to Mr. Clarice of Aberdeen, Washington, during a 114th Infantry Regiment reunion at Fort Dix, New Jersey. He wanted it returned to the park. Mr. and Mrs. Clarice delivered the piece of ginkgo tree to Chief Park Ranger Lloyd Boyle and Assistant Ranger Bob McCoy. Joe said that during a Shriners Convention in 1969, Joe told Ranger Boyle about the petrified piece he had. This piece is presently on permanent display at the Vantage Park Museum back in Washington. Joe saved several pictures of the rock buildings he helped build and supervised the construction of. These pictures can be sent to the Library of Congress. The 200 Civilian Conservation Corps boys got $30 per month, and 25 of the 30 went home. Joe and others in the CCC crew actually got to meet Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our 32nd president, at one of the CCC camps in 1935 during a presidential visit. He saved a picture of the event as well, and many other pictures, which can be sent to the Library of Congress if you wish. I have 1935 picture postcards that he sent to his twin sister Ann from Reno, Nevada, and his mother from the Tennessee Pass, Colorado. The 1 cent and 3 cent stamp catch your eye, since the postage is so high now in 2019. These postcards could also be sent to the Library of Congress for display. On August 16, 1938, Joe got his barber's license and worked in Barrington, New Jersey for several years. He later went to Al's Barbershop in Runnymede, that's also in New Jersey, as he moved to 27 South Hilltop Avenue, Somerdale, New Jersey, with his family. Joe built a large, unique, beautiful brick house on a corner lot. It had a garage with 2 carports, which was unusual in those days. It was 2 stories with a full basement. At the time, it was the nicest house in Somerdale. Al's Barbershop was closer to Somerdale than the Barrington Barbershop. Joe loved being a barber, as he was able to talk to many of his friends on a regular basis and keep up with what was happening in the communities he loved. He told me that every day was different, and he loved that part of being a barber. He worked at Al's Barbershop until his death. He was committed to making his community the best it could be, as he was wounded trying to keep it and all of its people free and happy. He got involved with many organizations and groups in support of his community, which will be discussed later. In 1940, Joe enlisted in the Army as a private. It was Company H, RRC, Section Battalion, Fort Dix, New Jersey. In 1942, he was stationed in Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, for what he called maneuvers and training. In 1935, his mother, father, twin sister Ann lived on Nicholson Road, Gloucester Heights, New Jersey. In 1942, they lived at 5419 Terrace Avenue, Merchantville, New Jersey. They then moved to Park and Wilbur Avenue in Magnolia Heights, New Jersey. Joseph's sister married John Galantic, who served in the Pacific Campaign, and both returned home on leave at the same time and took pictures together, which are available to the Library of Congress as well. On May 9, 1940, Corporal Joseph Grahams was made sergeant in the 114 Infantry Anti-Tank Company. On December 1st, 1941, he was made first sergeant. He had the Special Order 35 listing his name as one of the men who got promoted to First Sergeant Grade 1. Also listed in this order are many other names of sergeants in the group. Staff Sergeant Bates, Staff Sergeant Caldwell, Staff Sergeant Hugabin, there are many others. On November 24th, he received a certificate of proficiency for the 114th Infantry, stating that he had successfully completed the 2-week course of instruction in Advanced Non-Commissioned Officer School Tactics and Techniques. It is signed by Norman A. Campbell, Captain, 114th Infantry, School Supervisor at Fort Lewis, Washington, as well as Raymond R. Tortillot, Colonel, 114th Infantry Commanding Officer. I can supply this certificate to the Library of Congress as well. His natural personality for leadership was moving him up in rank. I have many pictures of activities at each of these locations he trained. Hundreds of soldiers are in these pictures during shows, maneuvers, events, training. However, I do not have the names of all of the soldiers identified in the pictures. I also have Joe's original Field Manual 21-15, War Department Basic Field Manual, Equipment, Clothing, and Tent Pitching. It is stamped Anti-Tank Company 114 Infantry. I will also donate this historic piece. For some reason, he saved a war ration book number 3, 126499EN, whatever that means, with Joe's name on it. If you want this historic piece, I can offer it to the Library of Congress as well. A truly interesting piece is his officer's notebook, which he carried after becoming a second lieutenant. Joseph listed his rank, address, serial number, carbine number, Tommy gun number, pistol number, binocular number, compass number, watch number, and Army insurance identification. Officer's notebook, which he carried after becoming a second lieutenant. In his own handwriting, he lists all of the firearms in his company and information about them. This list included 9 rifle platoons, 12 LMGs, 6 headquarter company and 2 per rifle company, 8 HMGs, 681 mortars, 960 mortars, 45 BARs, 15 per rifle company, 3 57 millimeters, 6 50 cals, 20 45 grease guns, 6 per rifle company and 2 headquarter company, 524 M1 rifles, 81 pistols, 9 03s, 3 each per rifle company, 29 rocket launchers, bazookas, carbines, mines, grenades. He also noted that there were 3 first aid stations per company with litter bearers. He noted the collecting company, division clearing station, and evacuation hospital. He annotated combat report phrases, field expectations, examples of various required reports, radio call signs, and other battle-related expectations. He actually wrote, "Duty well before you, honor at all times, country before self," at the last page of this book, in his own handwriting. This obviously is a reference to the Army Code that he took personally. The book itself listed the organization of the Army, organization of the Army Ground Forces, organization of the services and supply, organizations of Army Air Force, diagrams relating to the layouts of tent camps, descriptions of canteen buildings, tent camps, bivouacs areas, characteristics of all assigned weapons used by the infantry, field artillery, coastal artillery, armor vehicles, as well as chemical weapons. The book describes attitudes and ranges of all company weapons. This book describes fields of fire for attacking, defense, delaying action, advance guard, and supported companies under a variety of conditions, like various terrains, morale, enemy strengths, etc. And amazing detail instructions listed the times expected during attacks for the execution of orders, military advancements, techniques at night, field work, layout of mines, supporting weapon placements under various conditions. It even listed chemical weapons and suggested actions. Description of explosive ammunition and their resulting effects are also explained. This book actually described in 19 pages conventional signals, symbols, military map symbols to be used in combat so everyone communicates in the same way. It was extremely hard to remember all these descriptive details. The book also had a conventional table of length, surfaces, volumes, velocities, pressures, weights, angles. They're conversion tables. It even has a description of the marine compass and its effects on unique map symbols. A surprising diagram explaining the distribution of Class 1 supplies from the railhead with the movement of trucks to the field. It explains going from quartermasters at regiment to the quartermaster battalion. The book even has an example and instructions to soldiers on how to make out their last will and testament. Although the officer's notebook lists the pay scale for all ranks in all services under the Readjustment Act of 1942, which extends over 4 pages, Joe kept a separate soldier individual pay record book inserted in the officer's book. To my surprise, the officer's notebook also had a chart noting penetration of projectiles for different materials like armor plate, concrete, brick, masonry, gravel, sand, moist sand, solid oak, earth flume, greasy clay, and snow. It followed with the penetration of caliber 30 and caliber 50 armor-piercing bullets, as well as the penetration of anti-tank weapons like 50 cal MG 25mm AT gun, 37mm AT gun, 47mm AT gun, 75mm, 105mm, 155mm, 8-inch, and the 240mm. It goes into detail as to the field artillery barrages and concentrations in yards based on certain weapons like the 75mm gun battery, the 105 howitzer, the 155 howitzer. I'm sure he had to study for a long time to retain all this information, but he probably concentrated on the tank leads in the anti-tank defense use of the 90mm gun, the 40mm gun, 37mm gun, which was detailed in this book as well. This book taught him all the forms and oral orders, wordings to use when identifying pertinent information of the enemy, how to talk to subordinate units and others like battalion ammunition distribution points, aid stations, and command posts. He had many personal notes listed to help him remember specific facts he would use regularly. The last page ended with a handwritten note: duty, honor, country. Joe married Mary Grams on April 20th, 1942, while stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington, where I, Jack Joseph Grams, was born on April 10th, 1943. Joe wrote many letters home to his mother, father, twin sister, new wife, and son. On February 15th, Headquarters 7th Army made him a second lieutenant with a battlefield commission. In a letter home, he said, "I hope I'll be a good officer." He always wanted to do his best, and as a result, rose to leadership positions in everything he did, even his civilian life. He never let his 8th grade education slow him down. If anything, it made him work harder to earn respect of others and ultimately leadership positions. One war story he told me was when Magnus von Braun and his brother Werner von Braun, the inventor of the V-2 rocket, wanted to surrender to Major General Walter Dornberger. They were in a farmhouse basement down the street from Joe and his men. They approached PFC Fred Schnecker of Sheboygan, Wisconsin, who happened to be Joe's Jeep driver. However, Anti-Tank Company 324 Infantry was given the credit for the picture, and not the 114th Anti-Tank Company, since these German scientists were in their area. On March 1st, 1945, a German machine gun shot Joe while on patrol near Wolfling, France. F-O-L-F-F-L-I-N-G, France. The story he told me was that his patrol was approaching a French farmhouse when a German machine gun opened fire from the barn's hayloft. A young soldier in Joe's unit stood up from behind a stone wall they were all hiding behind. Joe stood up to push the young soldier down, forcing him to take cover when Joe got shot across the stomach. His men carried him back reluctantly because his wounds were so bad. At that time, he was assigned to Company G, 114th Infantry, 44th Division, according to his medical records. For years, 8 pieces of shrapnel made their way out of his body, making blood spots on his shirts, and bullet holes also continued to drain daily. For months after returning home, he would find himself hiding under his bed. We would find him hiding under his bed in the morning. Also, for years, he would wake up in the morning swinging his right arm, as in self-defense. We would always shake his legs to wake him up, so as not to take the blow. Battle fatigue took its toll. They didn't identify PTS back then. 2 bullets remained in his body, and I was told that 2 more went through his body. 7 wounds in total, according to the medical records. I know the number of bullets don't add up, right? But it must be that parts of the bullets made additional damage to the stomach. They performed 5 operations, removing some large and small intestines. He also told me that he was shot 5 times with 2 bullets still remaining in his body at locations which would paralyze him or kill him should doctors attempt to remove them. These 2 bullets remain near his heart and kidneys. Joe made comments at other times that noted 3 bullets were lodged in him. However, that may have been prior to taking one out at the hospital. On April 4th, 1945, Mary Grams received a letter from a chaplain noting that Second Lieutenant Joseph Grams received severe wounds in the abdomen and was admitted to a hospital on March 27, 1945. At this time, Mary and her son Jack lived at Park and Wilbur Avenue, Somerdale, New Jersey. Later, she found out that Joe was shot by a German machine gun. At the time, 3 bullets were still lodged in his stomach, and he received a compound fracture of the right ilium and was administered last sacraments. What a shocking announcement to a young wife. He was 28 years old when he was shot. On February 16, 1945, Joe Grams was honorably discharged as First Sergeant, Infantry Platoon Leader. On May 10, 1945, he received his battlefield commission to Second Lieutenant. On August 27, 1946, he was relieved from active duty as a First Lieutenant. What a stellar progression in rank for an 8th grade graduate. According to his records, he received in southern France, and the number was GO number 33WD45, and Rhineland, and that was GO number 118WD. I don't know what those terms mean, but they were on his records. He told me stories about practicing the invasion, leaving Portsmouth, England several times before the actual attack took place. Service members in his unit never knew when the invasion was actually going to take place. Then one day, they headed for Normandy and didn't return back to Portsmouth, England. According to his certificate of service, First Lieutenant Joseph Grams received the Expert Infantry Badge June 15, 1944, the Combat Infantry Badge January 18, 1945, the European African Middle Eastern Theater Ribbon Medal September 15, 1944, Eastern Campaign Ribbon with 2 bronze stars. Now that's 2 bronze stars and a silver star medal. The Purple Heart Medal, the American Theater Campaign Ribbon, the Good Conduct Medal was August 11, 1943, the American Defense Service Ribbon September 27, 1943, the World War II Lapel Button, Victory Ribbon, the Distinguished Unit Badge. He was quite proud of qualifying expert in many firearms, the carbine, the .45, the auto rifle, the machine gun, the 37 millimeter anti-tank. These qualifications were dated May 13, 1943. I should show you something. This is a placard of his medals, and I'm afraid I never got any of the Valor medals that he did. Even though he was a first lieutenant and I was a lieutenant colonel, I didn't get the action that he did. Later, he would use the skills in training and qualifying New Jersey police officers at a New Jersey gun range. The military gave him confidence that he could do anything, and he did. In 1990, Joe and Mary went to visit Normandy Beach. He joined the U.S. Committee for the Battle of Normandy Museum and the Battle of Normandy Foundation in 1991. He was also a life member of the Retired Officers Association, a member of the Old Guard State Fencibles, and the Raw Tate VFW Post 7334. He was active in the First Baptist Church of Somerdale. Joseph volunteered to be the parade marshal for the Somerdale's 4th of July parade for over 14 years. The Raw Tate VFW Post 7334 presented him with the Outstanding and Distinguished Service to the Community Award in 1990. He was a member of the Magnolia Heights Volunteer Fire Company for more than 21 years. He was very active with the Boy Scouts of America for his entire life. He was chairman of the Cub Scout Pack 93 and Scoutmaster and later committee chairman of Boy Scout Troop 93. Joe enjoyed being a merit badge counselor for 6 merit badges. He earned the rank of Life Award and reached the Vigil Award status with League Lodge 77. The Order of the Arrow is a Scout Camp service organization. He was presented the Outstanding Service Award for over 41 years in scouting. My father was instrumental in helping me achieve the Eagle Award and the Explorer's Silver Award, which is the Explorer's highest rank. He always wanted me to beat him in all I did. So when I got the Eagle Award and received the Vigil Award before he did, he was very proud. When I graduated high school, then college, earned a master's degree, and achieved the rank of lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, he knew his life's work, raising his only son, was worth the sometimes difficult trials of life. He was on the board of trustees for the Stratford Military Academy and received the Peace Award for his youth work. Joseph arranged shooting matches with the Boy Scouts against the Academy boys. For many years, he would take me, his son, to the military academy to cut the boys' hair as a volunteer donation to the organization. He continued to cut hair at many old age homes as well. Since he insisted that I learn a trade, I went to barber school at 16 and earned a barber's license and was able to accompany him to these community outreach events over many years. His dedication to the community had no limits, as he was on the Magnolia Heights Volunteer Fire Company, the Somerdale Board of Education, the Recreation Shade Committee, the Planning Committee, Somerdale's Youth Center. As a chairman of the construction of the Sterling High School, he was the primary individual who planned and coordinated the building of the first high school in Somerdale, New Jersey, or down the line from the Haddon Heights High School in Haddon Heights, New Jersey. This was a huge accomplishment for Joe and Somerdale, a very small town in South Jersey. As a Mason in the Haddonfield Lodge 130 and a Shriner, a circus daddy, he supported many orphans and crippled children aid programs. He received the Legion of Honor from the Chapel of the Four Chaplains in Pennsylvania for his work with youth and aged. This is a Catholic organization that honored him. He believed in responsibility and self-reliance, striving to earn and prove his own worthiness as a citizen of the United States. Remember, he always tried to overcome his 8th grade image in his mind, a goal which he accomplished many times over. Joe became a life member of the NRA and a hunter safety and firearms home safety instructor, as he acquired passion for firearms in the service. He passed 2,300 boys and girls since 1955 in that training, and more later. He volunteered to be a special police officer's youth division for the Somerdale Police Department and a special police officer for the Runnymede Police Department. As a qualified rangemaster, he trained and qualified local and state police. He also trained special police groups in the surrounding communities. Even his business life, he excelled, always trying to do his best. As a barber and beautician, he became president of the South Jersey Hairdressers Guild and served in every office, receiving President's Awards from 4 other presidents of the Guild. He was very well respected. In 1971, Mayor Martin Hanson of Somerdale presented him with the Man of the Year. Governor Cahill and Congressman Hunt sent congratulations. Brigadier General William Doyle gave the feature address. Joe's motto was, "Have no fear, Joe is here." And he lived up to that motto his entire life. I have pictures of these events, which I can send to the Library of Congress to support the story of a soldier who only wanted to do his best and be brave. Joe is married 3 times, or 3 more times, after my mother Mary died of cancer at the young age of 57. Tony, Jean Jones, and Betty Burgess were the 3. He died November 1st, 1991, at 74. The funeral was a huge affair, with honor guards from the military, local police, local fire department, and the Masonic Lodge. Hundreds of people attended the service, both at the Eugene J. Zeal Funeral Home and at the internment at Bethel Cemetery, Pensacola, New Jersey. He laid rest next to Casmaraz and Henrietta and his wife Mary. Donations went to the Joseph. His funeral donations went to the Joseph Graham's Memorial Fund, care of Police Association of South Jersey, 41 Broadway Street, Berlin, New Jersey. Pop was survived by his wife, Sarah Betty Burgess, his son Joseph Grahams and grandson Travis and grandson Jared, his granddaughter Jessica, as well as his twin sister Ann Galantic and his niece Gail-Ann Miller and grandniece Tamar Miller. His family and even his extended families are all proud of being associated with such a patriotic, community conscious, selfless volunteer who just wanted to be a good man and do his best. Pop got his full disability pay after being discharged and returned home. I seem to remember that his government check was around $400 a month. To my surprise, his 4th wife did not get anything after he died. I was also surprised that when he died, the doctor didn't say that the aneurysm that put him in the hospital had anything to do with the machine gun injuries. They did not say that the numerous repairs to his stomach had anything to do with the aneurysm in his stomach. They didn't even mention the 2 bullet fragments still in his body, one at his heart and one near his kidneys. It's too bad they didn't take him to a VA hospital. I do remember that he was so weak to move, we couldn't take him to another hospital, as I did bring up that possibility. Some of the mementos and photos I have show his close connection with the men of the 114th Infantry, 44th Division, and his courting and marriage to my mother. Many pictures show me as a child. I'd be happy to send the pictures to the Library of Congress for the Veterans History Project if required. One story concerning the conditions at the military installation at Fort Lewis that I do remember is being told that a rat was in my baby cradle and they had to chase it away. Our family was living kind of in a basement of a unit. A picture of Joe in the hospital with me next to the bed is the earliest photo I have of us together after he returned from the war. It was probably the first time he saw me, and it was while he was in a U.S. hospital recuperating. One letter home to his mother expressed his feelings during battles. His latest letter increased that in case of death has also been saved and is very emotional and heartwarming. It expresses his bravery, love of family, love of his new wife and young child. He continued to express positive nature in all of his letters home. One handwritten letter that never had to be sent was addressed to Mrs. Grams, Mary Grams, 29-3 Park Avenue, Somerdale, New Jersey. What a tearjerker it must have been for her. It reads, "I hope, Mary, you will never read this letter. If you do, it will mean that we will have to go on from here. You will have to go on from here without me. You will have to face alone all those things we started out so confidently to face together. I have wanted so much, darling, so many things I hope to give you and share with you. Above all else, I wanted you to always have a peace of mind, your dignity, and the beautiful home for you and Butchie. Now it's too late for me to have a part in that, but perhaps I have been able to help a little. For sometimes when things seem clear to me, I feel that these are the things we over here have been fighting for. All my love, Mary. We have had at least a little time together. Have Jackie grow up to be a fine man and gentleman. Take care of him, Mary. He is replacing me in your heart and life." Some examples of his handwritten letters home, like this one on 9 December 1944, is kind of pertinent. "Hello, folks. I haven't written you or received any mail from you for a while. We are on the road to victory, but the Boche German is stubborn. We're fighting him on German soil now, and he doesn't wreck cities in his ground like he did in France, Poland, and Russia. We are going to treat German people like they treated other nations. The German soldiers here are old and kids. Looks like he hasn't many good soldiers left, but we have to kill those guys pretty soon, or they will freeze and starve to death if we don't kill them first. I'm feeling well, and we have good clothes to keep us warm. The food is good, and if Pop smoked, I'd even send him cigarettes. So be good to each other, folks, and I hope you both are well. Don't work too hard, and take good care of your grandson. Your loving son, Joe. That was in December, and there's another letter in February 17th, 1947, 45. Hello, folks. Today I received a battlefield commission. In other words, I was made a lieutenant without going to school or anything like that. They just said, Grams, you're a lieutenant, and that was that. But they gave me 2 weeks to think it over and rest. Tomorrow I go back to the front and become Killer Joe again. Oh Lord, how I hate the Germans, and I'm glad to be going back after laying around and taking it easy for 2 weeks. I didn't want to become an officer, but a battlefield appointment is a high honor among soldiers and officers. Duty officer wishes he had a battlefield commission instead of a school officer commission. I won't make any more money because I have to pay for my meals and my own clothes, but I won't be losing any money either. So folks, I hope I have been a good soldier and a good soldier comes back, and I'll come back to my Pop and Mom and my wife and Butchie, and I love all more than life itself. So be good to each other and take care of yourself until I get back. Your loving son, Joe. In February 21st, 1945, he said, Hello, Mom and Dad. As you know by now, I'm an officer. I really hope I make a good one. I guess I'll become, because they make me take it. The big shot said, You are a lieutenant, but I'm happy, and when a guy is happy, he won't be hurt. I'm a second lieutenant, but I'm getting first lieutenant pay. Heck, I've already gotten a raise in pay, and I'm only a Louis for 4 days. I'll try to be careful because of you two folks and for my little family. And I have a swell family, and I love my son. He's such a swell guy. I just like a doll baby. And I hear Grandpop is very fond of him, and he loves Grandpop and Mom. I know you don't receive any mail for a while, and I probably won't be able to write very often from where I'm at. We barely get our food up at the front, and sometimes we can't write letters, so if you don't hear from me for a while, please don't worry, because I'll be all right. I'm always thinking about what a swell Pop and Mom and family I have, and that makes me happy. And I don't worry about home. I cannot think about home because I have to concentrate only on one thing, war. Be good, folks, to each other, kiss each other for me, and my wife, Butchie. God bless you and keep you safe for me. Your loving son, Joe. Another letter home after being shot, but Joe typed this one, supposedly. This is March 24th, 1945, and I've never remembered him ever typing, so I'm wondering if it was typed in the hospital for him. Dear Mother and Dad, I haven't written to you for so long, but you know how things are in the Army. Sometimes a guy just can't write when he wants to. I guess this is the long that I haven't written to you. Yes, you know by now the reason. Do not worry. I'm feeling well, getting good treatment. We're in a beautiful spot and have real spring weather with lots of sunshine. I'm getting my strength back every day. I'm not in any pain, and it's just a question of time until I'll be getting around as well as ever. This is a tent hospital, and it is very nice because they lift up sides and we can get a suntan in the morning. I'll probably end up in London on meds in a general hospital. I may not be writing so often, so the doctor thinks it is best for me not to make too much effort yet. Keep this little Butchie for me and Mary, and kiss them both for me when you see them. And again, please do not worry. I'll be all right. God bless you both and keep you safe for me. Your loving son, Joe. This letter to home is the first letter Joe was able to write by hand after being shot. And that's it's dated March 28th. Being shot March 28th, 1943. Okay, so that's not the date of the letter. Dear Pop and Mom, this is the first letter I'm writing you myself since I was wounded. I'm feeling very good and my wound is almost all healed up. I probably be in hospital for a few months to rest up and to put weight on. They are feeding me eggnog and it tastes pretty good. I'm now in a general hospital and will probably be shipped someplace else in a few weeks. I hope you folks don't worry too much about me. Pop knows that the Germans can't kill Grams. We Grams are tough. A Jap couldn't kill Pop, so a German can't kill me. It looks like I can't fight the Germans anymore because before I get out of the hospital, the war will be over. So folks, please don't worry about me. I'm getting well fast and getting the best attention. You can write to my old address and they'll forward the mail to me. So be good, folks. Take care of yourself. And when you see Mary and Butchie, kiss them for me. God bless you two swell people. Your loving son, Joe. Let's see. This letter expresses real hope to see everyone again. April 1st, 1945. Hello, folks. This is Easter Sunday, and I just had to write my Pop and Mom today. Oh, how I wish I was home this Easter just to see my Mom and Pop and my little family. But by next Easter, I'll be home. If my wound was more serious, I would be home in a few months. But my wound is getting along swell, and all I have to do now is rest and just on weight. I feel much better now. I eat everything they give me, but I can't sit up yet. That's why and to continue, that's why my writing is so shaky. I'll be all right in a little while. The doctor says I'll be good as new in a few months. So please don't worry about me. No use everybody worrying, just to take good care of my wife and son until I return is all I ask. I miss you folks. So be good to each other, and God bless you too on Easter Day. Your loving son, Joe. He finally receives a letter from home and responds to it. This is May 5th, 1945. Hello, Mom and Dad. I received your letter dated 12 April and am so happy that you wrote because today, 5 May, Anne's and my birthday. Somebody mixed up my records and I have to stay here for another week, but I'm going to the U.S. and probably Atlantic City General Hospital or Valley Forge, PA, and I'll pray that I'll be sent to either one of the two because I'll be able to see my Pop and Mom at least on weekends. I'm walking around now, so you can see that I'm almost well, but I'll stay in the hospital about 2 to 3 months to gain strength and weight in the U.S. I'll be stationed in the U.S. for the rest of the war. Hell, no Kraut German can't kilograms. We're just too tough. I had 3 machine gun bullets in my guts, and it didn't kill me. So we Grahams are tough. Well, folks, I hope I'll be home before this letter. I'll be seeing you soon, so be good to each other, and God bless you both. Kiss Mary, Ann, and Butchie for me. Your loving son. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you, Joe. Another book, which I can donate to the Library of Congress in my father's name, is an Army Songbook, U.S., which today may be politically questioned for the variety of songs in it. This book was prepared for free distributions to all officers and men in the Army. It was issued by the War Department Commission on Training Camp Activities and compiled with the assistance of the National Committee on Army and Navy Camp Music. It was dated Washington, 1918. Joe liked to play the harmonica, so my guess is that he kept the book so he could learn to play these songs. He would play many of these songs around the Boy Scout campfire. I'm sure it brought back memories for him. It did for me. Photos of the 114th Infantry Headquarters. It's identified as 3527-10. Unit showed 6 soldiers, but I didn't have their names. Another picture of the 44th Division headquarters, and it was identified as 3527-11. Unit shows 14 soldiers, but again, I didn't have their names. However, the photo of the 114 Infantry unit, and it's identified as DG259, has soldiers I do know from my father's continued association with them after the war. I met many at reunions, but didn't remember all their names, as I was young. However, the soldiers holding the top corner of the 144th Infantry flag in the picture is Harry C. Booty, Jr. Harry Booty had 3 children. I remember Tommy, Harry, and Margaret. Tommy went into the Marines. Margaret McCarthy now lives in Jamestown, North Carolina. Pop would take Christmas presents to their children for years. Another soldier I remember is Bill Kane, who is the second from the right in the top row. My dad made a point of visiting both families every year for years until they started to die off. Of course, I also can identify my father, Sergeant Joseph Grahams, holding a rifle in the front row, 6 from the left. I also have a large photo of the southeast area of Camp Edwards, Massachusetts, but I don't know why he kept it, as I only remember the mention of Fort Lewis, Washington, Fort Dix, New Jersey, where he was a staff sergeant, and Camp Claiborne in Louisiana, where he trained and qualified with weapons. He saved a large triangular red U.S. Army banner denoting Fort Lewis, Washington, and the 114th, which was taken and displayed at all of the 114th anti-tank reunions. I actually have a VCR tape of one of the 114th Infantry reunion held at Fort Dix on 10/29/88. His engraved aluminum plate and knife and fork stayed on his office desk and can also be donated. His anti-tank training book is also available, along with his dog tags. The real prize in my father's collection is his first sergeant's book. An inscription in this book read, "This book is a private record of enlisted and officers in this company since 1 March 43. It is to be sent to the following person in the event I cannot take it home myself." It was signed First Sergeant J. Grams. It also has a statement, "Mrs. Grams is also custodian of the basketball trophy, 114th Infantry Champs, 1943. I found inside this book a printed page which listed all of the names of everyone in the headquarters 114th Infantry, the 114th Service Company, and the regional headquarters company, 71st Infantry. However, the other pages in his first sergeant's book recorded all the names, all of the 114th Infantry Company members. Joe had all the officers and enlisted men in his company since 1 March 43 write using their own handwriting, noting their address at the time, when they joined the service, plus their next of kin. He also had them note their service number, date, birth date, rank, firearm qualification, training date, blood type, religion. Some also had shot records noted, tetanus for example. The real value of the historic piece is that all the information written in the service member's own handwriting. Joseph Grams also included himself in the alphabetic listing of his company. He noted his date of birth, 5/5/17, his service number, 32070044, although he listed himself with T4, T42. Many others had this denotation, but I don't know to what it refers to. His firearms qualifications are also listed. The M1, 37 bar, 50 cal. It goes on and on. On separate pages, he keeps track of each soldier who wore glasses and how many pairs of glasses they had. He even kept track of glasses insertions that they had. He called this record a spectacle survey. Joe later wrote in the book discharge dates, when members left the unit, and I believe when some died. My father wrote in the margins indicating many of his fellow soldiers who he looked up after the war. He used his book with its personal information to track down many of his fellow 114 infantry members, and we visited them for years after his wounds allowed traveling. He also saved a printed list of all the members of the division. For some reason, he also saved tapes of the 114th Infantry Band, 44th Division, and ceremonies of the 114th 44th Division. He also saved June 6, 1944 tapes of Normandy, 101 Airborne, and another tape entitled Normandy, June 6, 1944, 1st Division. Although I know he revisited Normandy at a later date with my mom, Mary Lucy Grams, I also have a newspaper article that noted his intentions to visit Normandy on the 40th anniversary of D-Day, of Normandy, but a passport issue prevented it. Joseph Graham's was a perfect example of his generation. It was important to them to help the people they fought for and to do their best in everything they did when they returned. That 8th grade education never stopped him from accomplishing his goals. I'm proud to be his son.